Good afternoon. My name is Amol Nirgudkar. I'm the CEO of Patient Prism. And we're here again in our Patient Prism studios from my house, broadcasting all sorts of resources and tips and ideas to really cope up with this crisis during this time. You know, the COVID-19 crisis has really hit our industry in an interesting way where most of the states are prohibited from seeing patients unless they're emergency patients. And I've had some amazing discussions with leaders all over the country about what they're doing. And I have another interesting gentleman today. His name is Jake Gulick. That's the right way to say it. Jake Gulick. That kind of rhymes a little bit. He is the president of a company called Greyfinch. And Greyfinch is based out of Arkansas. They started out as a practice management software company for orthodontists, and they've got in the last 2 months, maybe in the last month or so, when the crisis hit, they decided to create a product called Urgent Hub, I was intrigued by it when I saw it for the first time, and it's a web-based application for connecting patients who have an urgent dental need with the providers. So Jake, welcome to the show. Excited to have you here and share with our audiences what Urgent Hub is all about.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Amol. I appreciate it.
So tell us a little bit about why did Greyfinch get into making this Urgent Hub platform pretty much on the fly?
Yeah, definitely. So, we actually had one of our customers in Arkansas, Rock Dental Brands. They use our practice management software in their ortho clinics, actually approached us. They were talking to different larger DSOs across the country, and also some actually dental groups over in Italy, where the crisis was really rampant back in March. And they were kind of learning from them, like, what are some of the things that have happened over there that if you could go back and do it all over again, you would do differently. And one of the things was about dental needs. So what was happening is they were closing down all the dental clinics. And so the patients had nowhere to go for their dental emergencies. And so they were actually headed to the ER. Well, of course, we don't want the patients in the ER, right? During this time, they're already overrun, and so we try to keep them out of there. And so Rock Dental decided to set up Urgent Hub clinics strategically next to hospitals in the state of Arkansas to help alleviate those emergency dental needs from the emergency rooms to their clinics to help with that. In setting those up, they're like, well, we need a way to screen our patients. We need a way for them to schedule it. We need to make it easy for the hospitals to tell the patient, do this. And so that's really how Urgent Hub was born. And so we got to work, and within about a week, we had a working application up and running that they then started using.
This is so fascinating. I'm in the software world now, and to develop something from scratch and have an MVP, minimum viable product, ready within a couple of weeks is completely inspiring for anybody who's in software, because we know how hard it is.
It was a lot of long nights and a lot of hard work by our team, and can't say enough about them, how much they worked and put their heads down, and we're behind the idea too. So,
quick question. You said, are these pop-ups next to hospitals, pop-up dental clinics?
So being that Rock is a larger dental provider, they had clinics already really close to a lot of these hospitals throughout the state of Arkansas. So they're within a couple miles of all the hospitals. And so they're converted clinics, right? So like one is a pediatric clinic that was the closest one that they had. Well, but that'll see all patients. They made sure they brought all the correct supplies and all the, materials that they need for adult patients as well. So now the chairs may be a little smaller, but they basically have converted their clinics that maybe weren't traditionally for every type of emergency into those, though.
So by conversion, you mean they're just equipped to handle emergencies?
Emergencies, and for all patients of all ages.
Of all patients of all ages.
Yep.
And now Urgent Hub allows the dental office to basically get the intake of the patient, get them into some sort of a workflow for the practice to manage that patient and throughout that life cycle, that emergency. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's right. So how they're using this platform, and it's, we've expanded now today, actually, a group in Colorado is onboarding their locations. And then next week, we hopefully have, should be another large group that has locations in a bunch of different states to help with this as well too, who is kind of already doing this type of thing, but without a software to help them manage it, and help them get through this, to basically make it, they said, you're doing all the things that we were doing, but you basically have made it way more efficient and make it easier for everybody. And so,
So I'm sorry. Sorry, I
no, go
didn't
ahead.
want. So this is a standalone cloud-based scheduling and a workflow system for dental offices to triage and the emergency patients that are coming in, and be able to manage that process. So tell me how, if I'm a dental office, let's just say I'm one dental office, and I want to make my dental office, which is closed right now, but I want to make it into an urgent hub. What
Hmm.
are the steps I need to take?
Yeah, it's very simple. You just go online to our website, greyfinch.com, and click on Urgent Hub,
Okay.
or you can go to the direct link. But you go there, and then from there, there's a link. You just click, and you put your credit card information in for the $10, and then you get an email and a confirmation screen with your instructions on how to onboard. And it's all self-onboarding, so you would just go and create an account
Okay.
and add your location, set up your schedule, and basically that's it. So it's very simple to do. From an onboarding standpoint, you could be an urgent hub in 5 minutes from that aspect of it.
So is there so how do patients find me, and are able to do, so is there a URL, a link that you put on your website that, hey, we have become an urgent hub for us to take all the emergency patients, and here's a link, and then that link goes to the Greyfinch landing page for that particular practice?
Yeah, that's right. So what happens is the clinics will, I recommend doing it a couple different ways. They put a link on their website, right, that says if you have an emergency appointment, we're closed, obviously due to COVID-19, but if we're still accepting emergencies, you must schedule through this application. So they would go through that, and they would click, and yes, they'd land on the urgent hub page, where then they would go through the process and answer the COVID-19 questions, which we'll show you a quick demo of the software so you guys can see what it looks like here in a second. And
Sure.
then essentially the provider can choose to receive an email when someone schedules if they want. They don't have to, they can just keep checking their admin side of it. But yeah, that's right. And then the other thing I recommend is changing your voicemail, because a lot of providers tell us, like, I'm just checking my voicemail, and when it's an emergency, I call them and, deal with it. You could push those patients to the urgenthub.com website, urgent-hub.com website, and then they can then there's no interaction needed if you have it on that communication.
A question: could you have you seen anybody that you work with today download their list of all their patients and their email addresses, and send them not download, but actually email all their patients? Then, by the way, here's the new link for scheduling emergencies. That way, everybody knows, because your patients might not know
That's right.
that this is available.
Yep.
Um, are
Yeah,
they doing
yeah,
that? Is
they
that
are
what?
doing that. Yep, some of them have been doing that. I've seen it. We've expanded not only to dental but into eye care, and I know one eye care specialist particularly did that,
Right.
and sent out a communication to all their patients. So, yeah, that's definitely an option too, and highly recommend doing that, because number one, you're providing better care for your patients. Number two, and just communication, and they feel like you care about them during this time, which you do care about them.
I see the application of this in external marketing too. I mean, if you have Google Ads running right now, for emergency patients, you go ahead and say, "Okay, we're an urgent hub. Check. Here's a easy way for you to, get into our
Yep.
system."
That's
Uh,
right. Well, we've had many people tell us that, these providers say, they get some patient that calls them that, isn't a patient of record, but they've tried 4 other providers and they're all closed and no one's calling them back and they got an emergency. And so, yeah, there's an opportunity to help let people know that you're seeing these urgent patients.
yeah, I'd love to for you to show me, if it's possible, whatever
Yeah,
you've
of
got.
course.
If
Yeah.
we can make this available, my team's behind the scenes here. If we can make him a presenter, then we can allow him to show some of the stuff. Because I'm excited about this. It's simple, easy to deploy, and gets people going right away, and gets you seeing those emergency patients.
So as you can see on my screen, this is where the patients would land, urgent-hub.com. And this is where they're going to get started with their screenings. So they're going to click through and there'll be more states being added. This is our staging area here. So it's just a demo site, but you can see here that you would have your urgent care needs. So pick between eye or dental. And then it's going to ask you the reason for your urgent visit. You know, the ADA came out with guidelines around this. And so we took those guidelines and basically took those and kind of made them more in layperson terms on what those emergencies could be. And so the patient's going to go ahead and select which one of those is actually happening. If they choose none of the above, it's going to prompt them that, you know, it needs to be one of these to be an emergency appointment. So then they'll ask them for a little bit more information about that. So really explain what's going on with that issue. And then it's going to ask them some COVID-19 questions. So to your knowledge, you've been in contact with the patient. I'll say no. Have you traveled outside in the last 30 days? I'll say no. Now, if you answer yes to either of those two appointments, it's not going to actually let you schedule an in-person visit. What it's going to do though now, and this is launching Monday, it's actually in this version, is that we'll let you prompt and actually let you schedule a telehealth appointment for that. I also can schedule a telehealth appointment in here as well, which we'll see here in a second. Just going to go through here quick. Put in, it asks for some basic information about the patient. How did you hear about us? And so this is to track kind of where those patients are coming from.
Sure.
And then from here, you would select your urgent hubs. Now, it's going to zoom in on the map, obviously, as well. And then from here, you're going to be able to select your different options. And when you select those, it's going to be either in person. If the clinic is set up to be a virtual visit, you can do that as well, or you can choose in person. So it does work for telehealth from that standpoint as well. I'll pick that I want to go in person. And when I do that, then it prompts me to schedule. The same screen would come up for a telehealth appointment as well. So then I select my date and my time. I'm agreeing to the HIPAA stuff and we go ahead and submit it. We're done. And then it gives me instructions. It tells me when arriving, I need to call this number when we arrive. And so basically that way at the clinic, when they arrive and they call me, I can check in my admin area and make sure that patient has already been pre-screened and it is, it is the right person. So I'm going to flip over to what the clinics would see. So the clinics would see inside of this area underneath patients, all the patients that have scheduled their appointments. And when we click on this, you can see that I can see all the answers to my questions, any other notes, all that. And I can even make some notes about this patient. So some clinics say they're calling them to get more information too, and they wanted to type in notes. So we added this notes area in here. Now, if I came in here and said, hey, you know, actually you answered, you know, you have a fever, a cough, and 5 other symptoms. We just want to do a virtual visit with you. We can go ahead and start a virtual visit with this patient as well, right from here. And so when we click on that, it's going to open up a room with a passcode that the patients, and then we can copy and paste and send this link to them. So if we go in here, it's going to actually start our virtual visit with inside of our platform.
So this is actually a video. You can do a video virtual visit, like just like a
Yes.
teledentistry.
Yep, exactly. We just are launching it today, essentially. We just finished it up. So we've been working on it the last about 3 days and got it working, and it's great. So we're really excited about this option.
Absolutely. So if I'm a dental practice, I'm a solo dental practice, and so when the patient goes on that, so I can provide that link to all my patients, or on my external marketing advertising, they'll go into this. There'll be a portal just for my practice, correct?
Yep, that's right. Well, actually, right now we can do that if you want. Right now, it does show everybody's information on there right now, meaning that the idea is that they pick yours. But if you wanted to only show your practice, we can do that with a URL trick, essentially, so that it only filters by the URL.
Right, because that's what most practices would want, right? Because they want, obviously, especially if you're sending this to your existing patients, you don't want them directing to anybody else. That's
right.
That's
right.
One. Number 2.
Yeah, and so we wanted to make it both options because clearly, like hospitals want to just send it, and the patient picks who is closest to them, what's most convenient.
Agreed.
Right? So, yep.
As long as you can direct it to that practice or that
That's
DO.
right.
We don't want to go to another DO. So practice. The other thing is, if you're attracting a new patient, you certainly don't want them going to your competitor, but coming to you.
That's right.
And as long as you can do it through your URL specific thing, that way it blocks everybody else except you. I think there'll be a lot of takers for this for sure.
Yeah, and that's how we've done it. On our practice management side, we have a way for patients to schedule their appointments through websites, and that's how we've managed all that as well too, is through URL tricks so that it goes right to that clinic. You know, because you could have 20 locations, but if they're on your one location, you want them to schedule at that location, then we use that little, it's not a trick, but it's a way to make it so it filters correctly for the patient. So this is the reason, one of the reasons why we were able to develop this so much faster than traditionally is because we've done a lot of the same type of things in our practice management software with, you know, patients being allowed to schedule their own appointments and that kind of stuff. And so we're able to leverage that knowledge and that technology to help us build this, you know, much faster than you traditionally would have to with scratch, you know, from scratch.
That's I really like it a lot. I mean, it's so simple. I mean, you literally onboarded the entire patient and the practice within minutes. You have two different models here. There is a standard package and there is a strategic partner package. Could you quickly explain the difference between those two? If this is for a dental office.
Yeah, for sure. So what we wanted to do with this is like make it really easy for anybody to be able to let their patients know and let their patients use this to schedule themselves and to get COVID, you know, screening and all that kind of stuff done, as you saw on my screen as the patient goes through it. So that's kind of just our standard. You want to use this for your current clinic and allow patients to be able to screen for emergencies and schedule their appointments to use this. The strategic package is more aligned with larger groups that have multiple locations across the states. That can be close to the hospitals. And so what we're doing with that is sharing information, how did we get in front of all these hospitals? How are they being communicated that they should be sending these patients to the urgent-hub.com website? You know, who to talk to at the state health department, if there's a contact that can help let everybody else know about this, and the dental associations and that kind of stuff. The larger groups traditionally have a lot of those connections already, or, you know, can get introduced to those types of people. And so it's really just to work with them on a much more like detailed level on getting something like this rolled out, where a traditional clinic, it's like, you know, they can go and onboard themselves in 5 minutes and they're done, and, you know, put the link on their website and they're ready to go. So that's really the difference between the two.
So if I am a DSO, then I have several clinics around a hospital area. I could contact the local hospital and the ER and say, hey guys, we've got the urgent hubs. You don't have to accept, you know, you can send us, not accept, but you can send all dental emergencies. We're open, we have licensed dentists. We've got a process in place. Here's a URL to our urgent hub website. You can, you know, patients can be directed towards that, and they could have a little sheet that they can hand out to anybody who has dental emergency, and that's how we keep them out of the door.
That's exactly right. And that's exactly what Rock Dental did with the hospitals here that they're close to, is they went around and they printed off and gave them stacks of these little cards that said, give these to the patients that have that urgent hub need. That the site that they screen on is 100% mobile friendly. So it works on any device. They don't have to download an app. They just go to the URL and they get screened.
I love this. I love the innovation and the speed at which you're doing this. It's just, it gives me goosebumps on, you know, I'm like, damn, this is unbelievable innovation and just ingenuity of thinking through all this stuff. Because we've got all this. I mean, the entire industry is screaming today, like, let's keep dental emergencies out of the ER,
Yep.
because ERs are not equipped to handle dental emergencies, and it's such a problem. What do you do after the crisis is over for what's next for Urgent Hub? Because I think it's a great service. I think it should continue. And it'd be a great way, because right now there's what, $2 billion spent a year, approximately 2 billion on dental emergencies in the ERs. I think there's some great play out there. So what do you think is the future?
Yeah. Anybody that we've talked to says we definitely could see ourselves using this after the fact too, right? Even small practices to capture those dental emergencies and screen them about what is really going on. So, you know, you have some information in those types of things. So we're actually in this little spare time we have between this and our, you know, continually trying to develop out our practice management software and all that kind of stuff. We've been talking about how do we take this from what it is now into a useful feature after, you know, the pandemic's over for the clinics. And so we're working on that and how that would work. And especially with the teledentistry thing inside of it, you know, already it makes a lot of sense as well. So we're working towards that path about what it would look like and how all that would work. And you know, how can we leverage what we've done in Urgent Hub even in our practice management side for our patient portal, you know, and that kind of stuff, and do those types of things.
I'd love to, once you have some of these things out, I'd love to have you back and we can talk more about them. So I'm going to leave our audience with your contact information on the screen here. It's greyfinch.com. We'll leave your phone number as well as contact email address. Is it okay for people to email you as well?
Of course. Yeah, definitely.
We'll leave it up there. And I certainly recommend, if I had a dental office, I'm going to certainly recommend this to a lot of our clients and people that we know. It's a great tool to uh, implement. The problem with any new project or any new initiative that we're doing at any business is how to get it done quickly and execute it. Yes, we want to see emergency patients, but we want to have a system to execute that, and not just like and this system is low barrier to entry, easy setup, and you can start seeing patients right away. So I really love the innovation and the speed at which you've done this. So congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a team effort for sure. Like I said, the guys developing this have put in a lot of a lot of hours in the last couple of weeks, and it's been great. And it's fun as well too to know that we're helping. And that's a big driver for it, is that we can actually do something. What can we do as a company? And so we're happy that we're able to do that. And definitely, if anybody's interested to ask questions, they can reach out to me directly or go to our website to learn more.
Jake, thank you so much for this talk. We can't wait to share this with the community and entire industry right away. It should be out in a few days. So thank you so much for coming this morning. And I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Amol.